It's your boy TMKT and I'm back with another reaction video, and today, and finally, we're about to come and figure out what really happened between Palestine and Israel. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get this channel to 2K, nigga. 2K. Let's get into it. Let's see what. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see what really caused this war that caused so much pain. You know what I'm saying?
One of the biggest myths about the Israel-Palestine conflict is that it's been going on for centuries.
Centuries?
All about ancient religious
What?
rituals. In fact, while religion is involved, conflict's mostly about two groups of people who claim the same land, and it really only goes back about a century to the early 1900s. Around then, the region along the eastern Mediterranean we now call Israel-Palestine, been under Ottoman rule for centuries, was religiously diverse, including mostly Muslims and Christians, also a small number of Jews who lived generally in peace. It was changing in two important ways. First, more people around then, the region along the eastern Mediterranean, conflict mostly about two groups of people who claim the same land, and it really only goes back about a century to the early 1900s. Around then,
Who was there though before? Who was there first?
the region along the eastern Mediterranean we now call Israel-Palestine, been under Ottoman rule for centuries, was religiously diverse, including mostly Muslims and Christians, also a small number of Jews who lived generally in peace. It was changing in two important ways. First, more people in the region were developing a sense of being not just ethnic Arabs.
But one thing you do know though, I want to say this, I don't know much, I don't know nothing, I only know so little, but when Christians, when they attack, they don't care, like they do a lot of damage. And it seems like when Jews does too, they do a lot of damage. And in my knowledge, when Muslims attack whatever and took over, they told them, you know, y'all can live free, because I might be wrong, but in Islam, you cannot first force religion onto somebody, because it's about what's in the heart. It's not about what the person say. You can dress as a monk, you can go to the mosque every day and pray, but if what's in your heart is really dirty, you just doing that for what do you call it? Like you're a hypocrite basically. That means nothing. That's why you have to choose to convert to Islam. They don't force you. What they might excuse me, it seems like it's the order. It seems like all the religion force people to do those things, you know. But let's see.
But Palestinians, a distinct national identity. At the same time, not so far away in Europe, more Jews were joining a movement called Zionism, but Palestinians, a distinct national identity. At the same time, not so far away in Europe, more Jews were joining a movement called Zionism, which said that Judaism was not just a religion, but a nationality, one that deserved a nation of its own.
Wrong. I'm saying wrong because faith is in the heart. We might be, you might be white, I might be black, and we might have the same belief in the heart. That's what religion is, you know. And them turning it into their own, turning it into race. That's what really causing all these things, in my opinion. So let them talk.
And after centuries of persecution, many believed a Jewish state was their only way of safety and saw their historic homeland in the Middle East as their best hope for establishing it. In the first decades of the 20th century, tens of thousands of European Jews moved there.
Eve Online on back immerses you in a universe.
After World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and British and French empires carved up the Middle East, the British taking control of a region it called the British Mandate for Palestine. At first, the British allowed Jewish immigration, but as more Jews arrived, settling into farming communities, tension between Jews and Arabs grew. Both sides committed acts of violence, and by the 1930s, the British began limiting Jewish immigration. In response, Jewish militias...
Let's get some gangster on here. Nigga, if you come to my crib and stuff, and I'm letting you to do some certain stuff or whatever, and you start acting out, nigga, you might get slapped. That's what I'm saying. You might get backhanded. What you talking about? This is my crib at the end of the day. You welcome, but you gotta act cordial. So what is they doing?
Formed to fight both the local Arabs and to resist British rule. Then came the Holocaust, leading many more Jews to flee Europe for British-Palestine world in support of a Jewish state. In 1947, as sectarian violence between Jews and Arabs there grew, the United Nations approved a plan to divide British Palestine into two separate states, one for Jews, Israel, and one for Arabs. In 1947, as sectarian violence between Jews and Arabs there grew, the United Nations approved a plan to divide British Palestine into two separate states, one for Jews, Israel, and one for Arabs, Palestine. The city of Jerusalem, where Jews, Muslims, and Christians all have holy sites, was to become a special international zone. The plan was meant to give Jews a state, to establish Palestinian independence, and...
Why these niggas, British, why they decide for everybody else? Like everybody else is just because we don't know nothing. We need you. Can you come help out? Why? Why? Can somebody answer that for me? Because I do not understand that. That don't make no sense to me.
Muslims and Christians all have holy sites, was to become a special international zone. The plan was meant to give Jews a state, to establish Palestinian independence, and to end the sectarian violence that the British could no longer control. The Jews accepted the plan and they declared independence as Israel. But Arabs throughout the region saw the UN plan as just more European colonialism trying to steal their land. Many of the Arab states, who had just recently won independence themselves, declared war on Israel in an effort to establish a unified Arab Palestine where all of British Palestine had been. The new state of Israel won the war, but in the process they pushed well past their borders under the UN plan, taking the western half of Jerusalem and much of the land that was to have been part of Palestine. They also expelled huge numbers of Palestinians from their homes, creating a massive refugee population whose descendants today number about 7 million.
Just one, man. How? Like how they do it, man? Somebody explain that to me, man. How these niggas came to these people's house, crib, land, and now they're trying to kick them out. What type of colonization white people stuff is that? That's what Christopher Columbus did. And did you know he was a Jew? I shouldn't have probably said that. Did you know what he was? He's one of them. Holy smokes.
At the end of the war, Israel controlled all of the territory except for Gaza, which Egypt controlled, and the West Bank, named because it's west of the Jordan River, which Jordan controlled. This was the beginning of the decades-long Arab-Israeli conflict. During this period, many Jews in Arab-majority countries fled or were expelled, arriving in Israel. Then something happened that transformed the conflict.
What?
In 1967, Israel and the neighboring Arab states fought another war.
What war?
When it ended, Israel had seized the Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank from Jordan, and both Gaza and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. Israel was now occupying the Palestinian territories, including all of Jerusalem and its holy sites. This left Israel responsible for governing.
These niggas don't forget. They were just told to come and, find peace. They taking over. They're like, this ours now. What?
The Palestinians, a people that had fought for decades. In 1978, Israel and Egypt signed the US-brokered Camp David Accords. Shortly after that, Israel gave Sinai back to Egypt as part of the peace treaty. At the time, this was hugely controversial in the Arab world. Egyptian President Anwar Sadat was assassinated in part because of outrage against it. But it marked the beginning of the end of the wider Arab-Israeli conflict. Over the next few decades, the other Arab states gradually made peace with Israel, even if they never signed formal peace treaties. But Israel's military was still occupying the Palestinian territories of the West Bank and Gaza, and this is when the conflict became an Israeli-Palestinian struggle. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, which had formed in the 1960s to seek a Palestinian state, fought against Israel, including through acts of terrorism. Initially, the PLO claimed all of what had been British Palestine, meaning it wanted to end the state of Israel entirely. Fighting between Israel...
I just don't like how soon as an Arab Muslim picks up a weapon, you are automatic terrorist. Why? Why can't you be just somebody that's defending their land? Why can't you be a hero? Why can't you be a war hero just like when the other places do it? Why? Why you gotta be a terrorist, man? That shit, it eats me up, man. Cause I'm starting to think it's because they only do that when it's religion, man. Even when you black and you a Muslim, you pick up a weapon, you a terrorist. You did it because of Islam. Like, that's what they be trying to say, and that's a lie. That's not true.
Israel and the PLO went on for years, even including a 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon to kick the group out of Beirut.
The stillness of the ceasefire in southern Lebanon was shattered today by the sound of guns, bombs, and planes.
Now, the PLO later said it would accept dividing the land between Israel and Palestine, but the conflict continued. As all of this was happening, something dramatic was changing in the Israel-occupied Palestinian territories. Israelis were moving in. These people are called settlers, and they made their homes in the West Bank and Gaza, whether Palestinians wanted them or not.
Colonized.
Some moved for religious reasons, some because they want to claim the land for Israel, some just because housing is cheap, often subsidized by the Israeli government. Some settlements are cities with thousands of people, others are small communities deep into the West Bank.
If you've always felt a deep yearning for Jerusalem, now is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only to stand within its gates, but also to build the home of your dreams there.
Settlers are followed by soldiers to guard them, and the growing settlements force Palestinians off of their land and divide communities. Short term, they make the occupation much more painful for Palestinians. Long term, by dividing up Palestinian land, they make it much more difficult for the Palestinians to ever have an independent state.
In their own land, their own nations, they don't even have the power of it. Man.
Today, there are several 100,000 settlers.
You know, this is the same stuff the Europeans did to Africa, right? Even right now, they make decisions in certain, not even certain, in African countries, man. They cannot make their own decisions. If they make a decision, it's made by the European. For them, like they dumb, they can't make their own decision. As of 2024, everywhere is evolved, everywhere is developed, whatever you call it. I think every nation should have the power of their country, should have the benefit of their land. You know, if you have something that we need, they should pay full price for that. But African countries, but African countries suffer so much from the hands of the Europeans. It's sad, man. It's real sad. all the profits they take, all diamonds, gold, whatever the land birth provide for a nation to be wealthy, rich, protect itself, provide for its population, citizens and stuff. Anything that comes out of the land is first. It first goes to in my opinion, to the Europeans. Like, they make decisions for it, you know, and the president, the government benefits from it, but the people of the land don't, because Bro, you gotta watch one video. The president, the president's son of Cape Verde. I might be wrong. How he was picking out his Ferraris, his watch, and people was in his country starving. Man,
in occupied territory, even though the international community considers them illegal. By the late 1980s, Palestinian frustration exploded into the Intifada, which is the Arabic word for uprising. It began with mostly protests and boycotts, but soon became violent. Israel responded with heavy force.
with guns.
A couple hundred Israelis, over 1,000 Palestinians died in the first Intifada. Around the same time,
That's how you know these people are waste man, boy. How somebody fighting got a rock or their hands and you bring a gun? You a waste man, like the UK people say, man. Cause I don't want to say the bad words in English, cause bro, these people are pissing me off, man. I swear to God.
a group of Palestinians in Gaza, considered the PLO too secular, too compromise-minded, created Hamas, a violent extremist group dedicated to Israel's destruction. By the early 1990s, it's clear that Israelis and Palestinians have to make peace. The leaders from both sides signed the Oslo Accords. This is meant to be the big first step toward Israel maybe someday withdrawing from the Palestinian territories and allowing an independent Palestine. The Oslo Accords established the Palestinian Authority, allowing Palestinians a little bit of freedom to govern themselves in certain areas. Hardliners on both sides opposed the Oslo Accords. Members of Hamas launched suicide bombings to try to sabotage the process. The Israeli right protests peace talks with ralliers calling Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin a traitor.
Man, all this ceasefire, all these peace they calling, they're not making sense because this nigga is in my crib, man. How the F a month for gonna come in my house and then wage all type of wars with me, and then years later talk about, you know what? Let's just shake hands. But I'ma still live in your house too though. But I'm gonna still live here. I'm gonna still take all the benefits from your house. I'm gonna eat out your fridge. I'm gonna boo in your toilet. I'm gonna use all your KUB, and I'm gonna use everything that I can in this land. But I'm gonna use all of that. We can make peace though. We can make peace. What type of sense does that make? Yo, get out my house. Get out, man. Yo. Bro. Yo. And this how they all think. That's what shows you they're the ones that control all these places, because all these places think like that. All these places think. People that have their own stuff, like as far as Africans that have their own lands, they don't think like that. Arabs that have their own land, they don't think like that. They don't think about. Because even when you see a foreigner knows he's a foreigner in this land. Wherever they are, they know they're foreigners. But these people, wherever they go, they call home. I swear to God, man. And it's proof, video proof, 4K. Oh my God.
Nazi. Not long after Rabin signs the second round of Oslo Accords,
It's not even funny, but how their brains work. How do you want these people to settle with you when you just makes sense?
far-right Israeli shoots him to death in Tel Aviv. But this violence showed how extremists on both sides can use violence to derail peace, keep a permanent conflict.
Got shot.
On both sides opposed the Oslo Accords. Members of Hamas launched suicide bombings to try to sabotage the process. The Israeli right protests peace talks with ralliers calling Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin a traitor and a Nazi. Not long after Rabin signs the second round of Oslo Accords, a far-right Israeli shoots him to death in Tel Aviv. But this violence showed how extremists on both sides can use violence to derail peace, keep a permanent conflict going.
Palestine, self-defense. The other one, you still wrong. You still, it don't matter. You get slapped in the face, you get boom, bullets in you, whatever. It's still self-defense, right, America? And that's what we call self-defense in America. So why can't it be self-defense no matter what these people do? Why can't it be self-defense? Because at the end of the day, it's their land.
Going as they seek the other side's total destruction. That's a dynamic that's been around ever since. Negotiations meant to hammer out the final details on peace drag on for years, and a big Camp David summit in 2000 comes up empty. Palestinians come to believe peace isn't coming, rise up in a second intifada, this one much more violent than the first. By the time it wound down a few years later, about 1,000 Israelis and 3,200 Palestinians had died. The second intifada
Triple of their deaths.
Really changes the conflict. Israelis become much more skeptical that Palestinians will ever accept peace or that it's even worth trying. Israeli politics shift right, the country builds walls and checkpoints to control Palestinians' movements. They're not really trying to solve the conflict anymore, just to manage it. The Palestinians are left feeling like negotiating didn't work, and violence didn't work, and that they're stuck under an ever-growing occupation with no future as a people. That year, Israel withdraws from Gaza. Hamas gains power, but splits from the Palestinian Authority in a short civil war, dividing Gaza from the West Bank. Israel puts Gaza under a suffocating blockade, and unemployment rises to 40%. This is the state of the conflict as we know it today. It's relatively new, and it's unbearable for Palestinians.
Another proof why they all are connected. If they can't get you to do what they want, they bring poverty to you. And that's one of the devil's most strongest trick, to give you poverty, hunger, weak, whatever, putting you through that. And what poverty causes? Poverty causes a lot of things.
In the West Bank, more and more settlements are smothering Palestinians, often respond with protests and sometimes with violence. The most just want normal lives. In Gaza, Hamas and other violent groups have periodic wars with Israel. The fighting overwhelmingly kills Palestinians, including lots of civilians. In Israel itself, most people have become apathetic. For the most part, the occupation keeps the conflict relatively removed from their daily lives, with moments of brief but horrible violence. There's little political will for peace. No one really knows where the conflict goes from here. Maybe a third intifada, maybe the Palestinian Authority collapses. But everyone agrees that things as they are now can't last much longer. Israel's occupation of the Palestinians is too unstable to last, and that unless something dramatic changes, whatever comes next will be much worse.
And it's worse, it's on right now. Because this video is 8 years old. This is crazy, man. Palestine has every right to be frustrated as much as they are frustrated. And it's so sad that they're being taken advantage of, and they're being treated like animals, and it's all type of wrongs being done to them. They are being killed like mosquitoes, like waste. They all type of wrongs is being done to this land, to these people, and all they did was one mistake, is welcome people in their own land. Being nice. Being nice can get you why, man, can get you effed hard. No Vaseline. Oh my God, this is wrong. This is wrong. If anybody watches this video, this is wrong. This is just colonization, whatever you call it. And that's what they all do. And it's sad. I feel for them because this is what's happening in my land too. This is what they did to our people, man. This is what caused slavery, man. And Christopher Columbus was a Jew, man. And he the one caused the type of slavery he caused, man. That's how they think. They come to your house and take all your belongings and tell you to get out. We make the new rules. Shit is insane to me, man. just wrong. I ain't gonna lie. That was it, man. That was it, man. That was it. Israel versus Palestine. It's really Palestine being done wrong, man. Before you leave, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this channel 2K, nigga. 2K. Let's go.